What is the name of the ship that rescued Titanic's passengers hours after the ship went down? The answer is the Carpathia. The Carpathia, shown here, arrived about 2 hours after the Titanic sank. The Carpathia then was actually sunk by a German torpedo 6 years later during World War I. What is the term that describes the orbit of a satellite that maintains its position over the same spot on the Earth? The answer, geosynchronous orbit. Communications satellites are often geosynchronous orbits so that the satellite antennas that communicate with them do not have to move. What is the term for a bacteria-destroying virus? The answer, bacteriophage. Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard were both wives of what king? The answer, Henry VIII. His marriage with Catherine was annulled and was executed. If you were to alphabetically arrange the major body systems, which would be first on the list? The answer is the circulatory system. The 10 major systems in the human body are shown here. Which sea is located in Israel and Jordan? The answer is the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is a salt lake bordered by Jordan to the east and Israel and the West Bank to the west. What name is given to a painting executed directly on a wall? The answer is a mural. Ceiling paintings, such as the one shown here by Jean-André Rixens, are also considered murals. What measurement, approximately 6 feet, is used to measure the depth of water? The answer is a fathom. The fathom is not an international standard unit. However, it is often employed as a measure of water depth in the English-speaking world. Who was the first female Prime Minister of Great Britain? The answer is Margaret Thatcher. Thatcher served as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1979 to 1990. What novel is about Guy Montag, who becomes disturbed by his profession of burning books? The novel is Fahrenheit 451. This dystopian novel by American writer Ray Bradbury was published in 1953. What type of cancer is characterized by enlargement of the lymph nodes and other lymphoid tissues, especially the spleen? This type of cancer is known as Hodgkin's disease. The condition was named after the English physician Thomas Hodgkin, who first described it in 1832. HNL is the 3-letter IATA code for which American airport? The answer is the Honolulu Airport. The airport is named after Honolulu native and Medal of Honor recipient Daniel Inouye, who represented Hawaii in the U.S. Senate from 1963 until his death in 2012. Name the creature said to inhabit the slopes of Mount Everest that is much like the legendary Bigfoot of the United States? The answer is Yeti. The origin of the Yeti may be traced to a combination of factors, including Sherpa folklore and misidentified animals such as the bear or yak. What is the name of bacteria that are oval or sphere-shaped? This type of bacteria are known as coccus or cocci. What is the only marsupial native to North America? The answer is the opossum. The Virginia opossum is the only species found in the United States and Canada. It is often simply referred to as an opossum, and in North America commonly referred to as a possum. What musical instrument originated in Indian classical music but was soon brought throughout the Western world through popular bands like the Beatles? This instrument is the sitar. The sitar also gained popularity in the wider world through the works of Ravi Shankar. What is the most expensive spice in the world by weight? The answer is saffron. 1 kilogram of saffron can cost over $5,000. What was the first and last name of the man who founded the first company to manufacture blue jeans? His name was Levi Strauss. Strauss was a German-born American businessman who founded Levi Strauss & Company in 1853 in San Francisco, California. The prefix giga represents what number? The answer is 1 billion. Numbers with a prefix of giga are multiplied by a factor of 1 billion. What is the scientific name for the bone more commonly known as the skull? The answer is the cranium. The cranium is made up of 22 bones. What was the first, and only as of 2024, horror movie to win the Oscar for Best Picture? That movie was Silence of the Lambs. The 1991 American psychological horror film starred Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. In which country did golf originate? The answer is Scotland. The exact origins of golf are unclear and much debated. However, it is generally accepted that modern golf developed in Scotland from the Middle Ages onward. Which U.S. president's policy was known as the New Frontier? The answer is John F. Kennedy. Kennedy served as the 35th President of the United States from 1961 until his assassination in 1963. What color dresses do Chinese women traditionally wear on their wedding day? The answer is red. Due to China's size, many wedding traditions vary, depending on what part of the country you are in. What element has an atomic number of 1? That element is hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most abundant chemical substance in the universe, constituting roughly 75% of all normal matter. What word describes a fluid's ability to resist flowing? The answer? Viscosity. Identify the leader who said about his country, "How can one govern a country that has 265 kinds of cheese?" The answer? Charles de Gaulle. After serving various positions in the French military and government, he was elected President of France in 1958. Who is credited with the invention of the safety razor? The answer? King Gillette. Socially, Gillette advocated that all industry should be taken over by a single corporation owned by the public, and that everyone in the U.S. should live in a giant city called Metropolis, powered by Niagara Falls. The theory that the universe originated in a cataclysmic explosion of a hot, dense mass of matter is known by what name? The answer is the Big Bang theory. According to the Big Bang models, the universe at the beginning was very hot and very compact, and since then it has been expanding and cooling down. How many compartments does a cow's stomach have? The answer is 4. Cows technically only have one stomach, but it has 4 distinct compartments, each completing different parts of the digestive process. What is measured based on the Beaufort scale? The answer is wind speed. The scale was devised in 1805 by the Irish hydrographer Francis Beaufort. In what play does a title character's refusal to duel Tybalt lead to the death of Mercutio? The play is Romeo and Juliet. This early Shakespeare tragedy premiered in 1597. What is the name of the Greek goddess of love and beauty? Her name is Aphrodite. Aphrodite's major symbols include myrtles, roses, doves, sparrows, and swans. What grandson of Genghis Khan founded the Yuan dynasty of China? The answer is Kublai Khan. Kublai was one of the many grandchildren of Genghis Khan. Some estimate that 1 in 200 people alive today are direct descendants of Genghis Khan. What Greek physician was the first to keep records of his patients' histories? This Greek physician's name was Hippocrates. The ancient physician is also credited with coining the Hippocratic Oath, which is still relevant and in use today. Riyadh is the capital of what Middle Eastern country? Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. With a population of over 7.5 million people, it is the largest city on the Arabian Peninsula. According to Arthurian legend, what was the name of the beautiful princess whom Arthur married? Her name was Guinevere. Guinevere has since been portrayed as everything from a villainous and opportunistic traitor to a noble and virtuous lady. What adjective describes organisms that are nutritionally independent of other organisms? The answer is autotrophic. What branch of Earth science deals with the forces that shape the Earth's crust? The branch is known as tectonics. Tectonics are important in understanding the earthquake and volcanic belts that directly affect much of the global population. Who was the lead singer of the band The Who? The answer is Roger Daltrey. The Who are an English rock band formed in London in 1964. Which student of Plato compiled his own expansive philosophy in such works as the Nicomachean Ethics and Physics? The answer is Aristotle. Aristotle lived from 384 to 322 BC. What disease literally translates to porous bones? The answer is osteoporosis. A lifelong lack of calcium plays a role in the development of osteoporosis. Which two countries share the longest international border? The answer is the United States and Canada. This border is 8,891 kilometers, or 5,525 miles, long. What was the first successful feature-length sound movie? This movie was The Jazz Singer. The Jazz Singer was a 1927 American musical drama film directed by Alan Crosland. Traditionally, what breed of dogs rescue lost persons in the Swiss Alps? The breed of dog is the Saint Bernard. Since the early 18th century, monks kept these dogs to help them on their rescue missions after bad snowstorms. On what date is a Canada Day? Canada Day is July 1st. It celebrates the anniversary of the Canadian Confederation, which occurred on July 1st, 1867. What novel about a man injured in a tragic sledding accident was written by Edith Wharton? The answer is Ethan Frome. The book was published in 1911 and is set in the fictitious town of Starkfield, Massachusetts. Who was captured behind enemy lines and hanged as a spy, and said that his only regret was that he had but one life to lose for his country? The answer, Nathan Hale. Hale is considered an American hero and in 1985 was officially designated the state hero of Connecticut. Muslims travel to Mecca to fulfill what pillar of faith? The answer is the fifth pillar of faith. What father of astronomy first proposed that all planets revolve around the sun? The answer, Nicholas Copernicus. Copernicus was a Polish mathematician and astronomer who lived from 1473 to 1543. What treaty ended World War I? The answer is the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty was signed on June 28, 1919 in the Palace of Versailles, exactly 5 years after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. What is the scientific name for the bone more commonly known as the kneecap? The answer is the patella. The patella is found in many tetrapods such as mice, cats, birds, and dogs, but not in most reptiles. What is the largest city in New Zealand? The city is Auckland. Auckland has an urban population of about 1.5 million people. What black gourmet fungus is a native of France's Périgord region? This is a truffle. Some truffle species are highly prized as food. What animal is said to be representative of the market during a period when stock prices are falling? The answer is a bear. On the other hand, a bull market is a period when stock prices are rising. What sedimentary rock is formed in the sea by millions of small animals? The answer is coral reef. Sometimes called rainforests of the sea, shallow coral reefs form some of the Earth's most diverse ecosystems. What German theologian started a religious rebellion in 1517 when he posted his 95 Theses on the church door in Wittenberg to protest the policies of the Roman Catholic Church? This man was Martin Luther. Martin Luther lived from 1483 to 1546. His followers became known as Lutherans. A device that amplifies light into a narrow and intense beam of a single wavelength is called a laser. This is an anagram for what? Laser is an anagram for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Lasers are used in optical disc drives, laser printers, barcode scanners, DNA sequencing instruments, fiber optics, and much more. What substance are a human's finger and toenails made of? The answer is keratin. Keratin is also the key structural material making up scales, hair, feathers, horns, claws, and hooves. What term describes a snake's process of shedding its skin in preparation for new growth? This process is called molting. In addition to reptiles, animals who molt include amphibians, arthropods, birds, and even a few arachnids, such as tarantulas. What word is used to describe the study of projectiles? The answer, ballistics. The earliest known ballistic projectiles were simply stones and spears. In which city was Jim Morrison of The Doors buried? The answer is Paris. Morrison died in 1971 at the age of 27. What is the name of the chain of more than 300 small volcanic islands forming an island arc in the northern Pacific Ocean? This chain of islands is called the Aleutian Islands. Most of the Aleutian Islands belong to the U.S. state of Alaska, but some belong to Russia. Romulus and Remus were raised by what animal? The answer is a she-wolf. Eventually, they were said to be adopted by a shepherd and grew up tending flocks. The Outsiders, a coming-of-age novel, was started by the author when she was 15 and published when she was 18. Who was she? The answer is S.E. Hinton. Hinton is often credited with introducing the young adult book genre. Name the 19th century Dutch artist known for cutting off part of his ear and for his paintings Sunflowers and The Potato Eaters. This artist was Vincent van Gogh. Van Gogh was not commercially successful in his lifetime. He struggled with severe depression and poverty, which eventually contributed to his suicide at the age of 37 in 1890. What actor starred in 142 films, including The Quiet Man, The Shootist, The Searchers, and Stagecoach? The answer is John Wayne. Wayne's real name was Marion Robert Morrison. He played football at USC until a broken collarbone ended his athletic career. What are chemical compounds with 2 oxygen atoms per molecule known as? These compounds are known as dioxides. What was the first book ever produced on a mechanical printing press? The answer is the Bible. Originally printed around 1455, only 21 complete copies of the Gutenberg Bible are known to exist. What component gives blood its red color? The answer is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein in your red blood cells that carries oxygen to your body's organs and tissues and transports carbon dioxide from your organs and tissues back to your lungs. What class of colonial servant could gain his freedom after he worked for an overseer for a fixed period without pay? The answer is an indentured servant. What country has the most natural lakes? The answer is Canada. According to McGill University research, Canada has 879,800 lakes. Other sources, however, suggest that the country has over 2 million lakes. What is the diameter of a basketball hoop in inches? The answer is 18 inches. Originally, when James Naismith invented the sport in 1891, he hung peach baskets that served as the first hoops. A plane flying on a bearing of 45 degrees is flying in what direction? The plane would be flying northeast. What is the largest apex terrestrial predator in Australia? The answer is the dingo. Dingoes are wild dogs. One study found that these canines prey on 177 different species. Turpentine comes from certain species of which of the 2 main categories of trees? The answer is coniferous trees. Conifers keep their leaves throughout the year, whereas deciduous trees have large, broad leaves that fall in the winter. What is the name of the study of concealing communication? This is known as cryptography. What kind of organism contains chlorophyll and can manufacture its own food from inorganic substances? The answer is autotroph. Some examples of autotroph include plants, algae, and even some bacteria. Who said the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall? This was said by Nelson Mandela. The South African anti-apartheid activist and politician served as the first president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. In what year did Adolf Hitler come to power in Germany? The answer, 1933. He was the dictator of Germany from 1933 until his suicide in 1945. What vitamin, known as the sunshine vitamin, is important for healthy bones and teeth and for the prevention of rickets? The answer is vitamin D. What famed American playwright wrote Glengarry Glen Ross? The answer is David Mamet. Mamet has won a Pulitzer Prize and received Tony nominations for his plays Glengarry Glen Ross and Speed the Plow. What English band's recordings include album titles Amnesiac, OK Computer, and In Rainbows? The band is Radiohead. Radiohead are an English rock band formed in Abingdon, Oxfordshire in 1985. Little Cuba is the nickname of which U.S. city? The city is Miami. Miami has a population of 500,000 people. What is the name of a cloud-like region of gas and dust among the stars? The answer is a nebula. Most nebulae are huge. Some are hundreds of light years in diameter. Where was the Hawaiian pizza invented? It was invented in Canada. Sam Panopoulos, a Greek-born Canadian, created the first Hawaiian pizza at the Satellite Restaurant in Chatham, Ontario in 1962. What is the name for ocean regions near the equator known for dead calms and light fluctuating winds? These regions are known as doldrums. What is the two-word term used to designate the loss of sunlight and subsequent destruction of food chains as a result of atomic warfare or a similar event? The answer is nuclear winter. Originally termed nuclear twilight, this idea began to be considered as a scientific concept in the 1980s. What Italian leader and dictator was executed in 1945? The answer, Benito Mussolini. He was an Italian politician and journalist who founded and led the National Fascist Party. What marine animals hold hands in their sleep to prevent drifting apart? The answer, sea otters. Hunted extensively for their fur between 1741 and 1911, world otter population fell to 1,000. Since then, their numbers have rebounded. Bill Murray appeared as the first guest of Who's late night talk show in 1982? The answer, David Letterman. Letterman hosted late-night TV shows from 1982 until 2015. Astigmatism, strabismus, conjunctivitis, ophthalmia, and presbyopia are disorders affecting what organ? The organ is the eye. Regular visits to an optometrist are vital for eye health. Emission of what kind of radiation from arc welders may cause temporary blindness? The answer is ultraviolet radiation. What river runs through Baghdad? This river is the Tigris. The Tigris is the easternmost of the two great rivers that define Mesopotamia, the other being the Euphrates. Scientists believe that the continents were all one large landmass 280 million years ago. What name is given to this landmass? The answer is Pangaea. Pangaea was centered on the equator and surrounded by a superocean. What Washington lawyer wrote the U.S. national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner? The answer is Francis Scott Key. He was inspired to write the lyrics upon seeing the American flag still flying over Fort McHenry after British bombardment during the War of 1812. In the United States, how long is the term of a U.S. Senator? The term is 6 years. In Greek legend, the winged horse Pegasus sprang from the blood of what slain Gorgon? The answer, Medusa. Medusa was slain by the Greek hero Perseus. Which indigenous people did Hernando Cortez defeat from 1519 to 1521? The answer is the Aztecs. Mexico City was founded on the ruins of Tenochtitlan, an Aztec city. In what novel would you find the line, "I beheld the wretch, the miserable monster whom I had created"? The novel is Frankenstein. Published in 1818, Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus, was written by Mary Shelley.